There, this is Wayne of Wayne's Old and Rusty Stuff. I'm sitting here in the shop today, and I just want to show you all the equipment that I have laying around that I'm working on from time to time. And I'll be making some videos of a number of procedures on tractors and old cars. And it's just sort of a hobby. I'm retired now and I have some time and have a nice shop, which I filled up, I think. So I hope you check back from time to time and kind of see what's going on in Wayne's world, and we'll see you around, and hope you enjoy what I've got to show you. Now, this is kind of an interesting truck. It's a 1959 Ford F100. It's a short bed, has a 6-cylinder engine, a straight 6. It runs. It has a clutch problem currently, and it's really in bad shape body-wise. Got a lot of rust. You can see inside it used to be red, and the stock color for this truck was red with a white top. It was beautiful, and somebody rattle-canned it with orange paint, it looks like, and most of that paint's coming off and is in bad shape. It does have this kind of custom-made brush guard on the front, which is interesting, and it's a fun truck to drive. I've driven it a few times, but boy, is the bed rusted out. You can see the bed's in really bad shape, and I think finding another bed for this would be really hard, and I'm thinking about just maybe making a stake bed out of it, but we'll see. I'm not sure what our future is with this truck, because it's been outside a long time, and it's going to stay outside because I just don't have a place for it. But someday I'd like to get to it and fix all the bodywork and paint it red like it was supposed to be, and enjoy it. It's also the hood on it is from a 56 or 57 Ford, and it's not the right hood, even though it fits perfectly. So that's just a little factoid there. So here's another project. This is a 1929 A model two-door sedan. So it's a two-door sedan. I've had this car for maybe 15 years, and it runs really well and drives. It's kind of rattly and rickety, as you'd expect, but I take it to car shows every summer, and people really enjoy seeing a car in its barn condition. It has no paint, and everything on it, it's mostly original, but I've had to replace some parts, but it's in pretty straight condition. It'd be a great car to restore someday, but for now it's in this kind of barn fresh, fine condition. It's going to stay that way for quite a while. I am thinking about looking at the engine mounts. I get an awful lot of vibration from the engine, and I'm thinking when I put the engine back in it some years ago, I might have reversed the engine mounts or installed those wrong somehow, and therefore I get a lot of this vibration. So we'll see. It has a tin roof on it that some farmer in Idaho put on it as the original fabric vinyl roof collapsed, no doubt. And it's just great with me. It sort of folds back like a sardine can when you drive down the highway with it on the trailer. So I have to strap the front of it down to keep it from doing that. But it's kind of nice to have a lid on it without having to make one. So it's kind of handy. Again, 1929 Ford Model A two-door sedan. This is another one of my projects. It's a 1948 Ford 8N tractor, and I got this for about $600 from a guy in Central Oregon. It was sitting in his front yard as yard art when he bought his house, and he's owned it for 10 years. Never moved in 10 years. So I bought it and got it running pretty quickly. There's really nothing wrong with it. Leaks a little oil, but a good tractor does that. And I just love the patina. It's been painted several times with a spray can, no doubt. Tires are in kind of bad shape. We got some leaks here and there, but it runs great and drives. Has the 3-point hitch, and I'm always thinking of projects on this. It has a flat tire almost all the time, so I'll probably be fixing that pretty soon. I took this to a tractor show last year. Had a lot of fun with it. So that's one of the many projects around here, and someday I'd like to fully restore this and make it look like new. Ford 8Ns back in the 40s, late 40s, were just red. The core of the tractor was red, and the hood and the sheet metal, and I think the wheels were kind of an almond, almost white color. So we're looking to restore it to that condition, but I'm enjoying it the way it is for now. Nice tractor. This is another 1948 Farmall Cub. When I bought the other one, I got this one at the same time as a parts tractor. It's in pretty rough shape. This one is actually a manual lift, which I think is kind of rare. You can see the sticks and the springs that lift the implements. There's no, you can see right through the, under the gas tank there, there's no hydraulic block there. So you can see that, you know, this is a manual tractor. Again, this one's in really bad shape. I've never gotten this one started. I've tried a few times. I have all the parts for it, but you can see that the radiator core and base is rusted out and patched many times, not in very good shape, and it's been left out to rot. I've got it sitting out here just because I don't have a spot for it, but it someday I'd like to take a whack at it and see if we can get it running and get it back up. You can see how rusted things are. All the bolts underneath here on the deck and the seat post are rusted round. Basically, they're just gone. So it'd be quite a, just about everything on it's rusted. You can see even the bolts to the wheel weights are rusted and really in bad shape. Anyway, this this tractor is a little bit older than the other one, and again, it's a manual lift, and I'd love to restore it and operate it. So hopefully we'll get to that one of these days, but right now this is where it sits. All right, this is a 1926 Ford T-model roadster pickup truck. I've had this for about 2 years, been working on it. It runs. It's been sitting for 75 years, according to my calculations, and we got it running this last fall and drove it up and down the street. Needs a lot of work. As you can see, it's rusted quite a bit, but beyond the work that needs to be done under the doors here, that's really the only rot in the whole body. I've got the top for it. It's a fabric top. I'm going to have to replace the fabric, of course, because it's brittle and cracking. And we've been working on the engine. I've replaced the generator, the fan, pulley, and the fan. Miraculously, all the buzz coils work. And they've been sitting outside for 75 years, and they fired right up. Really haven't had much trouble with the engine. It doesn't run great, but it does run. And notice this has the vaporizer carburetor on it, which is kind of a challenge to figure out and work on. It also came with this weird transmission that was no doubt added after market, certainly after the old farmer probably bought this truck. And it's really just a crash box. It doesn't have a clutch, so you push on the brake pedal and then you put it in whichever gear you want, and then your T-model high and low gears are based off of that. It's kind of interesting. Took us a little while to figure out how to use it and how to drive this car, this truck, but we're well on our way now. And it'll take some years probably to get through this. I'm not sure what the goal is. I'd like to just leave it like it is, except put it all back together with a top on it and drive it around. And so we'll see how that comes about over the next couple of years. Beautiful machine, really happy to have it, and we'll have some videos on various things that we'll be working on the T. Next we have John Deere H. I just got this tractor a couple of months ago. I brought it home and figured out how to run it and start it. Someone primered it gray mostly, so the hood is gray and all the sheet metal is gray, and then the frame seems to be gray, but a lot of the parts underneath the hood were still John Deere green. So I hope to paint this tractor. It doesn't leak much, it runs great, needs some new tires and a few tune-up items here and there, but everything else seems to work really well. Notice it's the hand crank. It's a 1940, and I think the serial number is number 15,000 or 17,000, something like that, which means it was built in 1940. It's got the hand throw flywheel, which I was kind of afraid of at first, but it really works well with this tractor. I do have a crack. If you look real close here, you can see the crack right between here and here. I'm not sure how much I ought to worry about that. That's a really heavy piece of steel, of cast iron, I suppose. But I'm just not sure if that's going to be a big problem, or if I should weld it or replace it or what. Another interesting thing about this tractor, it has these gigantic wheel weights on the back, and I've never seen wheel weights that are on the inside of the wheels instead of on the outside. Most of them mount on the outside. These got to weigh 300 pounds a piece. There's another one on the other side, of course. And I'm not sure what I'm going to do with them. I mean, if I take them off, I can't move them around much. And yet they seem, I think I need to take them off because they just don't belong on the tractor. I'm driving it around on pavement and gravel, and I'm never going to be pulling anything, so I don't really need them, and they're probably, you know, just added weight to my trailer weight when I take this tractor to shows and things. So 1940 John Deere H. It's the smallest row crop tractor that John Deere made. And this is a really nice one. It's put together well. It's got everything, and it's in great shape given its age. It does have a hole in the main gas tank. That's why I've got the hood off, and I'm working on that right now. There's the tank over there on the floor, and somebody went through and puttied up the tank on the outside underneath, rather than sealing it on the inside. So I'm waiting for my gas tank sealer, pour 15, to get here, and we'll go through and etch that and prep it, and then coat it with the plastic gas tank liner. This right here is a 1948 Farmall Cub. I've been working on this Cub for 2 years. Its name is Bob, and I used to use this tractor to plow the snow off my driveway in the wintertime, and it got to where it wouldn't run, so I decided, you know, it's a nice tractor, it's got the hydraulic system and all that. I'm going to take it all apart and restore it and put it all back together. So I've done the final drives. I'm in the middle of degreasing the rest of the cast iron, the tube and the bell and so forth. I've got the engine out right over here, and I'm just about to start putting this engine back together with new bearings and new rings, new valves, valve seats, valve guides. I was on my way getting this thing going when I realized that this piston right here has a big crack in it, and I didn't realize that when I bought my valves. So now you can kind of see that crack there. So now I need to get some new pistons. I looked at new ones and they're really expensive, and so I bought a set of used ones off of eBay, and I'm kind of waiting for them to come back, and then I'll pick the best one out of that and match it with this set, or else I might use all four of the other used ones that I buy, since they're a set and likely balanced. I also took off the hydraulic box. So this is the hydraulic block out of the 48 Cub, and I've just reassembled it the other day with all new O-rings and cleaned it all up. It was leaking real bad and nothing really worked very well on the hydraulics. So I'm hoping that fixed it. I did find one small piece that I forgot to put in there, so I have to take that apart and put it back together. It shouldn't be too big of a deal. Also have all the parts to the Cub you can see on this 4-shelf unit, and I got the steering wheel on the top there. So all these parts, I got to remember where they all came from and put them all back together. I got some new tires for the front, and then I have the generator to go through, the radiator. That's the camshaft there in the back, along with the oil pump. Those are going in here pretty soon. I'm working on the engine. I'll show you that. So here's the engine block for the Cub. I'm just starting to put it back together. It's upside down right now, but I just installed the new valve guides down inside there. You can see them on the bottom, and then I just cleaned up the tappets and slid them in. I'm getting ready to install the camshaft, which goes over the top of the tappets. That goes right through this hole here, right through there, and the lobes on the cams end up lifting those tappets. They're lifters. So that part's coming together. I showed you last time I had one broken piston. I think it's this one. Has a big crack in it. There it is. And when I ordered my rings, I didn't notice that that crack was even there. So I just ordered a set of 4 pistons from eBay. They're used ones, and they're the ones pointed towards me there. And I've selected number 3 and replaced the broken one with this one. I just haven't figured out how to get those little pins back in there. The pin keepers, these little guys here, they like to spring off and fly about 20 feet. So I'm working on figuring out how to get those back in. I just have this one piston to deal with, so it shouldn't be too bad. Once I figure that out, I'll put rings on the 4 pistons pointed the other way and get them ready to install. They'll go in kind of last in the engine process. Once I get the camshaft in, then I think the crank goes in next with the bearings, and so I'll have to figure out how to do that. Never done this before, so it doesn't look too complicated. This is a nice small engine to deal with, so I think it'll go just fine. So that's the Cub. I do have some, like I said, some new tires for it, and I got the front end over here all taken apart. I've banged out some dents in the fenders, and you can see some of the parts here. I'll be putting all those back together. And then of course here's the hood. I'm working on that. That's going to look real nice when it's repainted. One other project I have in here that I thought I'd show you is this. I think it's a 1923 Stover CT1 hit and miss engine. And we've actually started this a time or two, but we've had a lot of trouble with it getting it started. And it all has to do with this mechanism right below the magneto, separating what's called the armature from the magneto magnet is what generates the spark, and that has to get snapped. And this mechanism has not snapped very well, so I've been tinkering with it, trying to get it to snap and throw a spark every time, and it's starting to do that, but I've been having other problems with it, like getting fuel to the cylinder and so forth. So I got it back here on the workbench, and I'd like to get that going and take it to a show this summer along with one of the tractors. So that again, 1923 Stover CT1, beautiful machine. It's in great shape, and hopefully we can get that running and able to start it easily. That's the goal anyway.